Hello everybody, Ben here today, and as you can see I'm at Longhorn Lester's right now. Excuse me. Um, I'm up here working with Lester today. There's some hay and stuff coming later and need to clean out the barn and whatnot, but you'll see that video tomorrow. Today is Monday, September 30th, and I just want to go over real quick. This past weekend, for me at least, was nice. I got to go to a wedding of two good friends of mine, and it was very nice. It was a very good wedding, and so I want to not focus on that today because that's not the point of my video. The reason I'm talking to y'all today, because there's a video coming out tomorrow, and I don't really usually post on Mondays, but whatever. But the reason I'm talking to you today is because of, well, cut to the chase here, the events going on in southern Appalachia right now. And I'm pretty sure that's how y'all pronounce it. That's how most people from that area pronounce it, Appalachia, not Appalachia. I have family from Appalachia, mostly from the Ohio, West Virginia area. So they're not affected by I'm talking about right now. What I'm talking about right now is the events that are and have been unfolding over the last 3 days. I think since Friday, maybe no, Thursday, because Thursday was when the hurricane hit Florida, so it would have been more Friday, Saturday, and yesterday was when it really got bad. And across Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, and into Tennessee and Kentucky and parts of Virginia too. But North Carolina has, I think, probably been getting the worst of it. From what I've seen, of course, there's been a lot of bad stuff happening in Kentucky too, especially, Georgia and South Carolina and Tennessee. Tennessee has a lot of bad stuff too. But I think Western North Carolina has been getting the absolute worst of it. And I remember, it's been crazy because, in particular, the city of Asheville, North Carolina, has really been in a very bad spot. In particular, the city, most of the city flooded, and also the infrastructure, especially for communication, has been disabled. As of the recording of this video, it's about 10:30 a.m. Central Time here in Texas, Monday, September 30th, 2024. And as of the recording of this video, it's 11:30 a.m. in North Carolina, in that part of the country that's getting affected, especially. And they in particular have had a lot of their, as I just said, their communication systems have been down. Their power, their cell service. I don't know, I'm sure people's satellite internet might be fine, but if you have cell service, apparently it's down, there's no electricity, and it's slowly but surely coming back, but over the past couple of days it's been really bad. They have had torrential downpours, really bad torrential downpours that have caused significant, horrible flooding. I saw someone on TikTok use the term biblical flooding. And the reason the flooding in this part of the country is so bad compared to other parts of the country, like, for example, what we went through in Harvey. One of the reasons I'm making this video is because it's not the same, because I'm about to talk about why it's not technically the same, but to an extent, especially, if there's people who are watching right now who are from this part of the country that's getting affected right now. And I'm sure I have some of my followers who are from there. I'm sure some of my followers came and watch this because they don't have internet to watch my videos. But if you are watching this, or if you know people who are out there suffering, listen to me as someone who has been through an event similar to what is currently unfolding. Now, I'm going to talk about why it's not the same, not entirely, similar, but not the same. And I'm sure many of you who follow me know what I'm talking about, Hurricane Harvey. Just a month ago, earlier this month, I made a very, it was actually August, but whatever, almost a month ago now. I made a very in-depth description and story describing what my experience going through Hurricane Harvey was like. I was not able to go into as much detail as I wanted, because unfortunately when I was recording that video, I was kind of on a time restraint, and so I didn't have enough time to talk about every single detail that I probably would have talked about if I had more time. But that alone was a very long video, as it was. But the reason I'm saying it's not entirely the same, and why I think probably what's happening in North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, but especially North Carolina and Tennessee, is so bad, is because of the devastating factor that comes from mountain flooding. And what I mean by mountain flooding is, in mountainous regions such as the southern Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina, you have the rivers and creeks that snake through the huge mountains. Now, when you have torrential downpours in relatively flatter regions like here in southeast Texas, when we have flooding, the flooding is more calm. The water just kind of like comes up, maybe sits. Maybe if you're like really close to the river, it can be fast, but even that's not compared to the raging torrents that you see in mountain flooding. But here, what we're used to, especially in Plum Grove, like when Plum Grove flooded in Hurricane Harvey and earlier this year, is the water just kind of comes up, kind of sits, and then calmly goes back down. That's what we're used to here. However, in the hill country, in West Texas, where my grandparents live, they are used to what I call mountain flooding, where when you have torrential downpours, rather than the water coming up slowly, the water just falls off the mountain and goes right into the creek and creates these horrible rampaging rivers that when they flood, buildings that are along the rivers are absolutely devastated. And the best, or I don't want to, best is not the right word, but the most perfect example, or I guess best, the perfect or best example of this is the town of Chimney Rock, North Carolina. It's that, honestly, I mean, I'm sure there are other towns similar to what has happened in Chimney Rock. I'm just not aware of it. But Chimney Rock, North Carolina has been getting the most coverage online and in the media because it was a small, pretty little town that was sitting on the edge of a mountain that was right on the bank of a river. Now, I don't remember the name of the river. I probably should have looked it up before I recorded this, but the town, anyway, it's Chimney Rock, North Carolina, and it's right on this river. Well, the said river was turned into a raging torrent that was flowing very quickly with a ton of water. And when you have that, of course, another thing is the erosion. So you have the ground, or the banks of the river will collapse and fall in. And any house or any structure that's on that bank is going to fall in with it. And this town was nestled right on the side of this river, right on the banks of this river. So there was a ton of homes and buildings that fell right into the river. And y'all can go look at the pictures. Just go online, look up Chimney Rock, North Carolina if you want to see the pictures for yourself. It's pretty bad. I think it's like half the town fell into the river, and the other half is either badly damaged. Even the buildings that are still standing are either full of mud and dirt and water, and are horribly damaged, and are going to take probably a long time to be revamped and redone to recover from this. Because even if a building is still standing, this did happen in Plum Grove during Hurricane Harvey. The house that I grew up in, was a little gray house that Kim built way back in the early 90s. The house, the current from the St. John River was not a raging torrent, but it was flowing quick enough to where the blocks under the house came loose, and the house kind of sagged and was very badly damaged, that repairing it was just not worth it. We just decided to knock it down. And some of these buildings, even if the structure is still standing technically, the foundation, the walls might be a horrible wreck. And, you know, even though the building, I guess, is still technically standing, it's probably gonna have to be knocked down because the structural integrity is just too badly gone. It's just too far gone in order to be worth saving, in order to be worth fixing up. And so a lot of these buildings, I guess, are probably still standing, are gonna have to, might have to be torn down because, as I said, the structures are probably too far gone to be worth rebuilt, to be worth revamping. So that's probably, I think that's the worst example I've seen of a town just completely being wiped away. We had a similar example of that here in Texas. As I said, I talked about the Hill Country. In May of 2015, so 9 years ago, we had a very bad flood that happened in the Texas Hill Country, and it really messed up some of the towns out there. In particular, there's a town called Wimberley in the Hill Country. Wimberley, Texas. It's a very beautiful town. Now, thankfully, the river that it sits on, I don't remember if it's the Blanco or the San Marcos. I really should have looked that up again. Something else I should have looked up. It basically, thankfully, the downtown of Wimberley was kind of a little further away from the river, but all the houses and buildings that are actually on the riverfront property homes were completely washed away. There was one really bad, really sad example was, there was a family that was staying at their vacation home right on the river in Wimberley, and I think, don't quote me on this, please go look this up, but I'm just doing this is just from memory. It's been 9 years since I've heard, since this happened, so I'm probably not remembering this correctly. But I think there was a family staying at their vacation home, and one of the family members was in the car. They were evacuating because the river was like right at their door, and so one of the family members or some of the family members were in the car, and some of the other family members were still in the house grabbing stuff. And while they were still in the house grabbing the last few things, the whole house fell into the river, and all the people in the house died, but the people in the car survived. I think y'all should go look into that yourselves. Don't quote me on that because I don't remember the exact details of that story. I just remember hearing about that. That happened in Wimberley in 2015 during the Hill Country floods. Oh, excuse me for a minute. But yeah, what's happening in North Carolina is worse than what happened in the Hill Country 9 years ago. I think the death toll, from what I last read, I've heard conflicting reports, but the death toll in all over southern Appalachia is estimated to be somewhere around, I think, 100 is what I've last read. Some are saying 90, some are saying more than that, some are saying hundreds. I don't know about that, but most reports that I've seen as of right now are saying around 100 people are dead, confirmed bodies have been found. Unknown numbers of people are missing. I've seen so many horrible videos on TikTok, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram of people basically posting videos asking people in the region if they've seen their family members, saying, like, if you're seeing, basically people saying, if you've seen this, if you're watching me right now, have you seen this person? Please reach out to me if you know how to see them. So there's a lot of missing people that have not been accounted for, that we don't know where they are. They could be dead, they could be alive, they just haven't been found yet because communication is so sparse that they're unable to call their relatives to tell them they're all right. So it's a very bad situation. The flooding is also over a much larger area. It's a much more populated area, so there's a lot more death because there's just so much more stuff that's been affected than there was in the Hill Country 9 years ago. I've seen pictures of the gas lines, people, miles and miles and miles of people waiting to get gas because there's just no gas. People running out of power or running out of gas because there's no electricity. And I mean, also, not only did they also get torrential downpours, apparently there was also a lot of crazy wind. The hurricane was still relatively powerful by the time it got into that area. So whenever it reached that area, it was very powerful. So it had a lot of wind, and so you had a lot of down trees and a lot of down power lines. And then you have the torrential rain and floods on top of that. So it just made everything worse. It's just disaster after disaster on top of disaster over and over again. So the whole situation is very bad. I'm gonna go ahead down in the description below. I'm gonna post some links to some charities, some people who I've seen donate to them. If y'all want to go ahead and donate to those charities. Again, it's the links are to the charities, not to me. So you're donating the money direct to those charities. I don't want anyone to think I'm asking for money. Like, give me money, then I'm gonna give it to them. No, the direct charities I'm gonna post down below. The Red Cross, other people that I know of, other groups that are funding the relief efforts in the area. I'm gonna post that down below if y'all would be inclined to help me help them, because I'm trying to give what I can too. Because, as I said, I've been in a similar boat, not the same boat, but I've been in a similar boat to what they're going through right now. And if you are in that area, if you're one of my audience members, or if you're not one of my audience members, if this video is reaching you and you're not, one of my audience members, one of my subscribers, you don't really know who I am, my heart goes out to y'all. Because I remember the pain and anguish and terror that was Hurricane Harvey, and I cannot imagine what y'all are going through, because I remember that pain, that anguish, that terror, and to see this way worse, way more destructive, I can't imagine, that horror they are going through. But yeah. So please, if you're in that area, you're in my prayers. Because oh yeah, I never got to another thing. The roads in Western North Carolina are horrible. It's a disaster. You go online, you look at the traffic map, highways, roads, all over the place are shut down because, if I remember correctly, I think it was like I-40 I think it was I-40 in Tennessee, near the North Carolina-Tennessee border, completely fell into the river. So half the highway, half of a major interstate that connects two states is completely fallen into a river, shut down. So the supply lines are gonna be really messed up. And so most of the materials, probably for a long time, because as I said, even these roads are not only are they're flooded, they're washed away. They're gonna have to be rebuilt. Near here, Longhorn Lester's near here, the 787 bridge that goes over the Trinity River in the town of Romare, just south of Longhorn Lester's, washed away because of the Trinity River flooding that happened in May. So this is going to be a very long recovery process that's happening. It's going to be a very, I don't even know, it's going to take a long time, because there's just so much devastation, and a lot of the supplies are going to have to be brought into grocery stores and brought into Red Cross locations, are going to have to be brought in probably through helicopters. I don't know about runways or airports, but it's going to be a very, very difficult trying to get, truckloads of aid in there, because, to restock the grocery stores and to restock the shelters and to restock, to get linemen in to fix the power lines. So this recovery effort is going to be a very long, arduous journey in order to help the people recover and help them get back to the way it was. It's going to take a long time, and that's really sad. But because of just how crazy it is. But that's all I really have to say. Thank you for watching. I'm trying to put the best way to wrap this up, how to wrap up this video. I don't know. Y'all are my prayers. I'm praying for y'all. I ask all of us, other audience members from around different parts of the country who are doing fine right now, like I am. We have no issues here in Southeast Texas. And of course, you people in Florida who got the first brunt of the storm, y'all are my prayers too. I'm sorry I didn't talk about y'all enough. It's just, everything that's happening in Appalachia has just been so crazy. But what's happening, but you people down there in Florida, y'all really got the first brunt of it, and it's really bad. And I can't imagine, how bad it is there too. Because Randy and Joan, Gigi's brother and his wife, live in Tampa, Florida, and they said it was pretty bad there. I can't imagine how bad it was in, like, say, Cedar Key, Florida, where the, it really went in. But yeah. Anyway, y'all are my prayers. If y'all are watching, if there's any of you who are there, or if any of you know people who are there, they're my prayers. And I think we should all pray for y'all. Everyone who's not in that area like me, let's pray for them along with me. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning in today to another episode of Daily Life and Adventures of Ben. Well, I wouldn't say it's a normal episode. But thank y'all for watching today. My heart goes out to y'all if y'all are in that area and you're watching this. I hope y'all are doing okay, and I pray for your recovery, and me and hopefully many others like me are gonna, try to help y'all recover as quickly as y'all can. But yeah, and as always, thank you.